Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Randy's Rants. Thank you for listening. Whoever's listening, nobody may be listening. I really don't know. I hope someone's listening, but if no one is, well, I'm gonna keep on doing this. But one thing I want to talk about, especially coming with this whole coronavirus, man, it is crazy how this whole corona thing is what's going on, especially around the world. How certain countries and cities have seen a decline in their emissions, or should I say the air has cleared up. I was looking at pictures in LA, and the other day when I went, about last week, I went to LA. LA looks so much better. It didn't look all smoggy, it didn't look all foggy and shit. And that, I would like to say, is pretty amazing, especially how it shows how us not driving, not doing all this polluting the air, how the benefit has shown in certain cities and certain countries too. And also, one thing I would love to touch on is one report that I saw that the ozone was finally, after not after banning products that damage the ozone is showing healing, showing repair, and hopefully that will, with the whole, that will help even more fight this climate change. But it is so crazy how right now, with no one being able to drive, no one being able to do certain things, to really just stay home, the only ones who are really the ones who still get to drive, the ones that works, well, those that work at a grocery store, police officers, sheriffs, hospitals, first responders. Shout out to them, man, because right now with this whole coronavirus, man, the hospitals, man, they're really getting swamped, especially here in Visalia. A nurse where I work at was telling me that certain nursing homes or certain places where they have the elderly, they have to take corona patients and stuff like that. And especially here, there was a nursing home that at first there was about only 8 cases of corona, and then within like a week or within a few days it doubled. It went from about 16 patients having the coronavirus, and along with 8 nurses having the coronavirus. And it's just what's really crazy with all this, not only like it's showing us a few things, it's showing us our flaws, it's showing us errors that we have, especially in our government, the flaws there is, especially in our spending, because it obviously shows that we're not spending enough money on certain health equipment. We find money where we find money for tanks, planes, and all that shit, and bullets, but right now there is a shortage of protective gear for our nurses and our doctors. And this has shown where, if everything goes when everything goes back to normal, what we should really do is stockpile on a lot of protective gear, a lot of different health equipment, because a pandemic like this is worse than a tornado coming out of a tornado causing damage, or a hurricane, because you can kind of prepare for those, and the damage is really done in a day or two, and you still feel them, but all that is repair. It's really just repairing buildings, repairing this, repairing that. If there's flooding, figuring that out. But in this, it's different because we can't see what's harming us. We can't see where it's at. We can't see where, oh, it's on that pole, I'm not gonna go over there, or it's in that store, I'm not gonna go in there. We really don't know. We really can't see it, and it just shows how different this is compared to a natural disaster like a hurricane or a tornado. And man, when everything goes back to normal, because I know it will, everything's gonna go back to where it was. I feel we should definitely not take a lot of things for granted. We should definitely reach out to our loved ones more. Don't be afraid to tell people you love them. Don't be afraid to tell people that you truly care about. Don't be afraid to tell them that you love them, that you care about them, that I feel like nowadays sometimes, like, we're very I feel like it's very distant where, you don't reach out to them so often, and for me, man, I like calling people. I like hearing to a voice to talk to, but I know nowadays a lot of people hate calling, hate doing that. And for me, I like texting, messaging is cool, but I like being able to see somebody, or sometimes or more just being able to hear their voice. I rather prefer that over texting, because over texting it takes a while, and especially me, I'm kind of a slow texter. When I talk, it's easier, and I feel like it's easier to always carry a conversation more, especially talking. And that's just for me, but I know a lot of my a lot of my loved ones, a lot of the people I care about, and they're not much for calling. They're more of the texting or snapping or messaging or stuff like that. And I get it, but I feel like if we can just call every instead of doing that, just like actually give them a call. It doesn't even have to be a 20, 30, 40-second call. I mean, minute call. You don't have to stay on the phone. Just call them and let them know. Let them hear your voice. Let them hear the love you have in your voice, and whoever it is that you have love for, let them know. A lot of people, I feel in my view, like when you say the words "I love you," like they say they see it differently. Some see it, if it's a dude, well, they think it's homophobic. Well, some people might think it's homophobic. I don't know. I'm not some people. I'm just saying it for me. I don't have problem ever saying it to anybody. Whether it's a woman, a man. I don't have problem saying it. If I have some sort of affection for you, if I truly care about you, I'm gonna tell you, be like, fucking love you, or I won't say that. I won't curse in the beginning or in the end, but I'll let them know, like, hey, I love you. Just, if you need anything, let me know. But definitely in these times are crazy, especially now with the UFC getting canceled, because it was gonna be here in Lemoore, which is like 40-minute drive from Visalia, something like that, 30-minute drive. But now, since it got canceled because of Disney officials and ESPN officials really coming down on UFC to cancel that, I believe it was UFC 249 that got canceled. But hopefully, when all this goes back to normal, we'll be able to see some really cool fights from boxing and UFC. I think, when the UFC does do a show here, I'm definitely gonna buy tickets for that as soon as they go on sale. Because, man, to get to go to a UFC event, especially so close, is gonna be awesome. So, and also this year, one thing that especially with the time of staying at home, well, not really staying at home because I'm fucking working most of the time. The only time I go to home is to freaking sleep. One thing that this thing has taught me is to be grateful for a lot more things. Like, one thing that over these past few weeks that I noticed, man, I haven't spent too much time with a lot of the people that I should be spending time with. And I'm not talking about every day. It's taught me where it's like maybe once a month, maybe once a week, depending. Try to make time for those that you truly care about. Plan a trip out, maybe go out to eat. And that's one thing that really got to this, that I was thinking that me, I know almost like I am gonna live a long life. I know I'll live to 90, 95, or 100, but I don't know when my loved ones, because they don't have like my kind of, when I mean my mentality, a lot of the people I know that I truly love and care about, like, they don't have my mentality like me. I try to stay as healthy as I can. I cut down all my junk food. I eat more healthy foods, fruits, vegetables, and stuff like that. Supplements I definitely like to take. And to be honest, man, you just never know when it could be their last day. God at any moment can say their time has come. What their destiny was on this earth is done. He calls them back home. You never know when that's gonna happen. And I feel like that's not, yeah, I talk about work a lot because I do. But one thing that came to mind where I never liked requesting days off. That was always me. I always, if it fell on my day off, then I'll go. If it didn't, I won't. One thing that this has come to show me that I have to do is learn how to request days off from work to spend time with those that I love. not be afraid of just like, I'm not gonna go to work. I don't need this, I don't need that. I can go to work next week. I'll put in the hours next week or something. That's one thing that I learned from this, and not only from the coronavirus, but when I went through my little anxiety and my other, like, nah, I won't say too much depression. It was more like an anxiety depression, like more of a um, mental fix where I put my mind in the shop to fix and to really get my thoughts correct. That's one thing I definitely do. And God willing, when this goes to normal, I got a lot of calls to make. I got a lot of messages to do to really make plans for those, man, because those that God has destined for you, they're always going to be there for you. But God always wants us to show the love, to also show appreciation. And to be honest, at least in my perspective, in my mind, I felt like I haven't shown that to the people that I should, and I won't say I'm glad, because I wish I could have, I wish I could have figured this out earlier, but I did. These past few weeks, I learned that and really came to my mind. And though I don't really want to say I'm glad for it, because it's precious time lost that I won't get back. But I am glad, because I kind of see where I was, how can I say, I was being ungrateful to life, or I was being ungrateful, where I was not being appreciative of everything that I have. Though I can still work and do all this, but also not to forget those that I truly care about, and those that really have, maybe they're not, especially my friends. A lot of my friends that, I'm not family to them, but the way they treat me, the way they've really, how they are towards me, like they really made me feel like I'm family to them. And we all have friends like that, and let's not forget about them. Sure, we can all get caught up in our own life and all that, but let's not forget to keep that connection, keep all that. Let's not be so selfish where, if they don't text me, I'm not going to text them, or if they don't call me, I'm not going to call them. Let's learn to be the first one to be like, hey, what are you doing? This, boom. If something doesn't happen, then just plan it again, or but just let them know that, hey, I'm thinking about you. Hope everything is well, God willing. Sending them blessings and nothing but health, wealth, prosperity, and happiness towards them. But that's definitely what I wanted. One thing I wanted to say. Another one is, with this whole coronavirus thing, I do want to say I feel this is a perfect time right now to really get close to people, especially not only that, to build on yourself. A lot of the times we can stay at home, let's find a book to read. And when I mean read, I'm not talking about like a Star Wars book, even though that's, I love Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, but let's get a book that's going to help you grow, that's going to give you something that can give you a new perspective in life. In Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, it can give you a new perspective depending on how you see it. When it comes to books like that, one thing I learned is the imagination. Someone created this world in their mind, and now they're making a living off what they like. That's what I love. But also, if you're in a place where you're not happy, find a book that's going to give you a new perspective in life where you can be happy for what you have. Because then you figure out there's millions of people with less than what you got. One book. In my last episode, I talked about the power of I am. And in this one, I really want to talk about the book by David Goggins called Can't Hurt Me, which is a really amazing story of a guy who all his life he's really struggled, especially in school. He goes through multiple things, especially with his dad. Dad was would beat him and his mom, and not only that, he would be called racial slurs in high school and in school, because he's a African American gentleman. But it's a really, really good book where it kind of teaches you where, like, man, if you compare it to your life, you figure out that your life wasn't as hard. But just because it's not as hard doesn't mean you can't have that same mentality as him. He shows us where it's like, who you are now doesn't have to be you in 10 years. You can choose to change, but that change is up to you, whether you want to keep pushing, whether you want to change for the best or change for the worse. Are you going to see everything as a negative, or are you going to see everything as a positive? In this book by David Goggins, it's just amazing how he goes. The first time he goes to Bud's to SEAL training, Hell Week, or as he says, Bud's. how he fails and how he really used a health reason for an excuse why not to finish. But it shows how that bugged him, and he went back and finally finished SEAL training. And man, this guy's a savage, man. If there's anyone who I would think is a complete savage, who just really has that mental strength, is him. And I definitely highly recommend it for anybody who wants to maybe not give himself a motivation, but see a different perspective in life, see different things, because I feel that's always important. Always look at other stories. Don't always look at your own story. Don't be selfish. Look at others. Think about others. If we always think about ourselves, then to be honest, man, then I feel like we're not being good humans. We're not being a good person, because we shouldn't think about ourselves all the time. We should think about another person. If we make a mistake, sometimes we want to be forgiven at that moment rather than be freaking told off, or rather than that. And sometimes when someone else makes a mistake, we tend to be harder on them that make a mistake. But when we make the mistake, we want people to be easy on us. When I believe in what you give, you shall receive back. So if you give out that type of attitude, or that type of that type of response, that same response will one day be in turn given back to you. And definitely, that's definitely one thing I really wanted to say, which is let's just learn how to be more loving, more forgiving, and stuff like that. Let's not be selfish. Let's learn how to be unselfish. It's good to be selfish at times. We do have to work on ourselves. We have to learn when to be selfish, but we have to learn how to turn that selfish button on and off. It's not good to keep that selfish button on all the time. It's not good, because then you miss on what life is always trying to teach you. If we're always selfish, life will teach you why you should not be selfish all the time. Why you have to turn it off, on and on. Learn when to turn it off and on. And when it comes to not only that being selfish, I always feel, especially on that whole selfish thing, I feel like music can always give us a new perspective on life. Especially when you listen to different types of music, it can also open your imagination, your knowledge, because they say music is an art, and for me, I believe it is. And me, one thing that I give credit to my creativity, to the way I am, is I give the credit to the music I listen to as well, because I can listen to almost any type of music, whether it's I'm not a big fan of country, especially new country. There's a few songs that I'll probably listen to, but I'm not a really big fan of, but I'll listen to it. I can't be such a hypocrite, tell everybody to listen to all types of music, but me hate a type of music. I can't say I hate it. It's just not my preference. But if I were to choose some of those old, some country songs or singers, definitely I like John Denver, Johnny Cash, definitely Randy Travis, not because his name is Randy. Okay, maybe because it partly is, but Randy Travis definitely. There's a few, Luke Bryan has a few good songs. Brian, that Sheldon guy, I can't remember. It's Blake Sheldon, I think is his name. But going on to more music, like hip hop too, I don't really listen too much to Migos or Little Pump. I really don't like that type of music. It just depends. If the beat's good, if I can work out to the beat, then I'll probably listen to it. But the majority of the time, I don't prefer those artists. But I do like all other types. Shoreline Mafia, those guys are bad. Tekashi 6ix9ine, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like his lyrics, but the beats to a lot of his songs, his producer put it down on a lot of those beats where it's very uplifting, upbeat, where I can work out to it, and it just keeps me there. Let's go to rap too. Let's go to some I don't know. Let's go B.I.G., Tupac, Montana 300. Fredo Santana, Chief Keef. I'm gonna just name artists from different genres too. So I won't name the genre and then give you. I'm just gonna say names. I'm gonna do Spanish names too, like Ezequiel Peña, Antonio Aguilar, Pepe Aguilar, or the Ho Aguilar family, because that Ho Aguilar family, man, their voice is phenomenal. If there's one where the voice has passed down from father to son to grandchildren, it is that family right there. Let me see. Lalo Mora, definitely OG. Los Tucanes, Los Tigres, Los Canelos. And let me touch another one. Or Brazilian music too. MC Rodolfino, that guy's bad. Or MC Kekel or something like that. MC Bin Laden. Or let's do some rock. Green Day, James Blunt, Linkin Park, Guns N' Roses. There's so many. 30 Seconds to Mars, Switchfoot, Blink 182. Let's go O Town, Backstreet Boys. I was never much of an NSYNC person. Let's go back. Cyndi Lauper, Jermaine Stewart, Rod Stewart, Sam Cooke. I'm telling you, if you guys haven't heard Sam Cooke, definitely listen to Sam Cooke. Some of my favorite songs is Wonderful World, Change Is Coming, and Bring It On Home to Me. Definitely listen to Sam Cooke. Those 3 songs right there, man. He puts it down. It's just sad that he died at a young age. But also Everly Brothers, I like listening to them. Or the Isley Brothers. The Drifters, definitely. Under the Boardwalk, that's a great song. Let me see. There's so much music that I love to listen to. Like always, Beatles. Neil Diamond, definitely. Steve Nash, I think his name's Steve Nash or something like that. Let me see. Marvin Gaye, Luther Vandross. Let me see. Oh, man, there's so many artists out there. So much music that I like. Oh, Charlie Puth, Shawn Mendes. Those guys are pretty bad. Seal. There's so much music that I just like. My playlist is always full and different. Moana, I love the whole Moana soundtrack. So don't judge me on that. But I love the whole what's the song? It's the one the Rock sings. The What Can I Say Except You're Welcome. That one. There's the one Moana sings. That one's good. Definitely Aladdin. I love that song. Or there's so much music that I love to listen to, whether it's Spanish, Belinda, Villanova, what's his name? Que la chingada. Julieta Venegas, or it's just so much music that I just really enjoy. Oh, Tego Calderon, Calle 13, I can't forget about those guys. Those are OGs. Man, but just like, I feel like the different type of music you can listen to, and if you can translate it, find someone to translate. If you don't know Spanish or something, it definitely gives you a new perspective in a lot of way of life. Not only that, it gives you a new imagination, because when you listen to the rhythm or listen to the beat, you start to wonder, man, how did they create this? How did they do that? And then your mind starts to wander. At least it does for me. And especially when it comes to the older music, like the Isley Brothers or Marvin Gaye or Sam Cooke, like that music has a different type of feel to it. Like it's hard to explain, but it has more soul. I feel like whatever they're talking about, like you hear it in their voice, you hear it in the emotions. Like I believe that's what they went through. And with some music now, it's like I really don't. Depending on how their voice is, and depending on the emotions they put into it, I kind of don't believe them half of the time. I don't believe that's what they actually went through, or that's what they did. But again, that's me. I'm also just talking shit. I'm talking out of my ass. But I don't know them, but that's definitely a few things. And especially to be successful, and especially in my eyes, you always got to have an imagination. I feel the bigger the imagination you have, the more successful you can be in life. Because if you think about it, everything we have right now, at one point, someone had an imagination to create it. The iPhone, the laptop, computers, cameras, recording equipment, a backpack, whatever it is, shoes, cars, touch screen, speakers, everything at one point was not created, and someone thought of a way to make it. And in that aspect, anything in this life is possible if you put your mind to it, you just learn how to create what you want. But definitely imagination plays a big role, because without imagination, we wouldn't have the movies we have, we wouldn't have the graphics we do, we wouldn't have the stories. There's so many things the imagination has created that people just don't see. But as always, guys, thank you guys for listening. I'm gonna end it right here. I love you guys. Remember, guys, greatness is one day at a time. It's not a day, hour. It's not a month. It's not a week. It's not a year. It's not a second. It's not a decade or a century. It's a whole lifetime. It's every day. Every day you gotta be great. And you know, and by great, I don't mean money wise, because money doesn't make you great. Who you are as a person makes you great. Who you influence for the good makes you great. How you treat others day-to-day basis makes you great. Not money. Not no prestigious title. None of that. It's how you treat people, how you treat everyone, how you treat yourself, how you treat your loved ones. You know, Muhammad Ali had one of the best things. Like, if they're nice to me but they're rude to the waiter, I don't trust them. Why? Because they're only nice to me because of who I am, not as a person. But definitely, guys, love you guys. Whoever's listening should know I love you guys. Keep pushing forward. I know whatever you guys have planned, you can do it. You can do whatever you want, but it has to be what you want, not what others want. Do what your heart tells you to do. If you want to be that fireman, that police officer, do your dream. That's who you want to be. Be you. Don't get corrupted or don't be influenced by music or by stuff you see, by money. No, just be you. You are the greatest. Learn how to show your greatness. Love you guys.